Clinton, we heard Jamie Carragher say on the Monday Night Football last night that watching them play Chelsea at the weekend was like watching a League Two side take on a Premier League team in an FA Cup tie. I mean, that is pretty damning of a team that are in the top 6 in the Premier League. Were they really that bad?
They were bad. I don't know if they were that bad, but they definitely were bad. What they were trying to play out from the back, nowhere near, because they've not got the players in midfield that want to come and get on the ball. Where you look at Chelsea playing from the back, likes of Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, they're comfortable in possession. So obviously, if you're not good enough to do that at the back, you're going to have to change it up. I do think they miss Romero, who starts out the attacks, but you can hear Jed Spence. He gets 2 opportunities, he tries to do a trick here in a crazy position, and then they win the ball back, and Mickey van der Ven does the same thing. Like, no, you're against one of the best midfielders there is in the world in Caicedo, who hunts it down and it just goes to João Pedro. It's a great finish, and you saw at the end of the game there was a lot of boos there. They were nowhere near good enough. But Tottenham fans have to realise, Thomas Frank, that's how his team set out. That's how they are when they were at Brentford, and it was like that. And I was happy he got the job at Tottenham. But it's not going to be. They're going to try and play this attractive football. But for me, they haven't got the players at the moment that could do that.
He has to adapt, though.
Yeah, of course he has to adapt. Thomas Frank has to adapt. Yeah, he has to change the way he wants to.
And I guess he also knows now at Tottenham that any incident like this is going to be talked about for days afterwards. This was the moment when Spence and Van der Ven had to snub him at the end, Chris.
I don't mind that. What you want to do, go round about and clap fans. You've took penalties for them for 90 minutes, go round about and clap them. I mean, it seems to be the end thing in football right now. After every game, that everybody goes round and claps the fans. Listen, I think the biggest respect that you can pay fans for coming is putting on a performance during that 90 minutes, not walking around and clapping them. So they're every right to go up to the turn.
But didn't disrespect the manager, snubbing him publicly like that?
I mean, listen, I think the way it looks as if, because he's walked towards them, but the last thing I would want to do as a player is walk around a stadium and clap fans who, as I said, those players, they should be doing better in the 90 minutes that they've just played. They don't need to go around. We see it all the time. Somebody flies into a tackle, smashes someone, and all you hear is, oh, he cares. No, he's mistimed a tackle. But there's other things where you think to yourself that players, because they're walking around a pitch at the end of a game, clapping fans. Come on.
He's pointed out that both players came and apologised to him as well in his room before the game tonight as well. So the fans afterwards, Courtney, making their feelings known, actually during the game as well. And Frank and Vicario have both, in their media yesterday, urged supporters to stay with them during the game. Both sort of said, we understand it afterwards. I mean, I guess every fan base shows its frustrations when the team's not performing. Can it ever have a positive impact on a player hearing that?
To a degree, I think obviously the longer it lingers on, and if you continue to put in bad performances and then as soon as you do something wrong you feel like you're being jumped on, obviously that's negative. But the fans have every right, after they pay the amount of money they pay nowadays to get into stadiums, to voice their opinion, and they were right there in terms of the way Spurs played. It wasn't just obviously in terms of the playing out from the back and losing out, but for me it looked like a lack of effort at times. I don't like saying that about players because I've been one, and I know full well that no player, well 99% of the time, players don't step out wanting to give a lack of effort, but that's what it looked like at times. So that's where the frustration will lie. It should galvanise you at some point as well. You should be turning around to your teammates and going, look, we know that wasn't good enough. The fans got on our backs, they didn't like it. So in terms of what Boydie said there, sometimes it is a case of you don't have to do anything spectacular, but making sure you start well, winning your 1v1 battles, making sure the first tackle you put in, it's a big one. Get the crowd behind you, and that's what you've got to do at that elite level. It can get on top of you, but if you're an elite player, you have to bring the crowd round to your way of thinking and do that through action.
George, if I was a fan, I would have been frustrated. They had a free kick in Chelsea's half, and it was towards the end of the game. They went short and ended up going back to Vicario, and Vicario kicks the ball straight back to Sanchez's hand. I would have been frustrated, but I get what Boydie's saying, because I've been in it many a times where, not really my own fans, because I produced on the pitch, but fans in general, if someone you had that had a moan at you, it is difficult, because you want to just walk off the pitch. But the one thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't disrespect my manager. If my manager's put his hand out to shake my hand, I'd shake his hand. But if there's times, and Boydie would have been in the same, and Courtney and Sids, where you're in a situation where you're like, I know I should clap the fans, but my head's all over the place at the moment. Give me 5 minutes, and at the end, and that's why they've gone in straight after and apologised. But your emotions are running high. Everyone has to know you're frustrated. You've just lost the London derby, so I get what Boydie's saying.
Are you still supporting Spurs? Have you left them now?
What do you mean?
Yeah, you were a Spurs fan last year. Are you back supporting them? Back to Palace.
I can't believe you just said this.
What you did? Spurs fan, yes?
I like both.
You like both, right? Okay,
Doubted you.
Yeah.
I can't believe you did that.
Exposed.
Boy, just bring it back to the serious subject. What about Frank then? Sort of feeling the heat a bit from Spurs fans at the moment. I guess at Brentford he mostly got love from the fans there most of the time he was there. But he's viewed under a different microscope now. That is the reality of being Tottenham manager. How do you think he's handling that?
Jules, it's interesting. You know, I think that Brentford over the period of time, similar to Brighton, you know, that their managers all seem to get rave reviews. But we all know that the recruitment at both clubs are outstanding. And I get the fact that you have still got to go in the training field and train them and make them better and organised and whatever way you want to look at it. But even at the start, when this, you know, saying to Clint Nutt's there, I wasn't sure of the appointment to start with. You know, I really wasn't sure. And I know Thomas Frank and everybody's spoken about the job he'd done at Brentford, but a lot of the work that goes unnoticed would have been done behind the scenes. It's totally different with Tottenham. You're in the Champions League, you're in the spotlight. I think there's always, you know, is it negativity? I wouldn't say there's an expectation with Tottenham. Because they always seem to get to a level, then they drop off. They were obviously won the Europa League last year. That's got them into the Champions League. There is always a spotlight on them. Brand new stadium, and everybody thinks that they should be performing at a higher level. I look at. I mean, they've got players in there that are very, very good. I mean, Romero's won the World Cup. Van de Ven is. But I don't really see, like, you know, at the forward areas. I don't really see any superstars. I think they've struggled there. And when you go from where he was at Brentford to where he is right now, I mean, it's totally different.
They've improved from last season.
They have improved.
You can see the game plan of what they've done. Like earlier in the season, they won games that they would have lost certainly last season, the season before. I think the game plan was, I mean, defensively they look really good. The full-backs are great. They look solid. The two centre halves. And then you look at the attacking options: Kudus, Moani, Richarlison, Simmons isn't getting up to speed at the moment. Johnson, Solanke's out injured, Maddison's out injured, Kulusevski's out injured as well. They're the ones that's going to go and win you the game. So you know they have got some injuries as well.
But they don't seem to be playing together.
No.
Yeah. Got to move on, but thanks very much indeed. It's 5 changes for Spurs, just to remind you, with Romero and Udogie both starting, and Simons, Odobert and Johnson also in from the off.